So first, I'll just make sure I pronounce your name correctly. Your last name, because I keep wanting to say Melody, and that's not how
No,
you say it.
it's
It's Melady.
Melady.
Get out
Yep,
of town.
that's it. So you're
Okay.
you're one of the few that pronounces it correctly.
Wow. Okay. Because my second guess was going to be like Melody, right? But
Nope,
Melady. I love it.
Melady. Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Well, then good. I nailed that. And I know that mainly we were going to talk about just the fact that you're an actor and also a model, but then I began to discover all these other things. I think you're the same Shaun Melady, who's a writer as well.
I am. Yeah,
Correct.
that's me.
Okay. Yes, that is you. So we'll begin though, just with letting our Instinct Magazine followers and subscribers and readers know who you are. And so you are an actor and a model, and you're
That's correct.
currently
Yeah.
starring in a short film on Amazon Prime short film called The Disturbance Call. So first, I thought I'd have you just share a little bit about what that project is about and the role you play in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's now out on Amazon Prime. It's a short film, about 20 minutes. So really quick to watch, but like action packed and like filled with, some really fun thriller-esque type
Mm-hmm.
events. So my character is his name's Phil Ariscon. So he's an officer, like a not complete rookie, but on the verge of like being a rookie, just outside of the rookie status, I guess you
Mm-hmm.
could say. And so my partner and I, we are responding to this call that a lady has, and she's basically, we think she's kind of drunk or like something like that, because she's like spouting off different things, like she's seeing somebody in her yard and somebody with a candle and all that. And so we're like, all right, cool.
Right.
um, and so we think, whatever, we're gonna appease her, we're gonna drive around and figure out what she's talking about, if it's anything. And then the night kind of unfolds to where she's telling the truth,
Mm.
and like there's sinister events that happen all within 20 minutes. And
Wow.
so how the production team does their films, they like to leave you on a cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
So if you watch it, or if anybody watches it, I definitely recommend that you eat all your popcorn, eat all your food, everything like that right then, because at the end you're going to be like eating and you're going to be like, wait, what happens next?
Right,
So
right. So is that done intentionally because the producers or the team, they want to sort of leave it open to maybe come back and follow up with a new part two, or is that just something just to leave you there and then have you just sort of they just leave the viewer there to figure out their own ending just as an exercise?
well, right now it's to my knowledge, to leave it there and let the viewer decide. But like, I'm in contact with the producers pretty regularly and
Hmm.
everything, so they love the feedback that it's getting. It's been in now 3 festivals,
Oh
so who
wow.
knows? Maybe a part two will
Yeah.
be on the horizon. So fingers crossed.
Exactly. Bring your cop back, man. Don't
Eh,
have your cop out of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
it's very often too you see like a lot of projects, well not a lot, but there are some projects who they began as like a one-off and the public response was so big that the producers were like, yeah, we need to go back in and sort of like figure out how to bring these people back. So I will be rooting for that, and I'll make sure that our Instinct Magazine audience knows all about it. And so you're also a model as well, though, not just an actor. So you're a model as well. You've worked for different designers. So who are some of the designers you've worked with? And you've done some Fashion Week stuff, some of the designers you've walked for. Drop some names.
Yeah, so one of them is actually one of the first ones. His name is Kevin Sharuzi Designs.
Mhm.
So he does like men's and women's apparel, but it's very like casual street style. But most recently, actually the past two New York Fashion Weeks, I've walked for Eli Bellet Couture.
Mm.
And so he's a very luxury Italian menswear brand,
All right.
and worked with him actually on my birthday last year
Oh,
on the
nice.
fall fashion week. And then he called me back in the spring to walk for him again. And so it was really cool to have a couture designer call you back,
Hmm.
especially in a New York Fashion Week setting.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah.
was it was amazing. And like from there, that's actually um, a proud moment, because, or another proud moment is because from those, in New York, I was dubbed, if you will, New York City celebrity model. And so
Mm.
that, like, with that came like a really cool response from media, from
Oh, sure.
different, designers and everything like that. And so it's really proud of that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. No, because you're from Florida originally. Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how
Ormond
to.
Beach, Florida.
Okay, I was doing my homework, making sure I didn't mess that up. Like, no, I'm from
Uh,
Cleveland, So you
and
so you are from Florida. And so yeah, I mean
yeah.
to be from Florida and to come to New York and make a mark like that in fashion in any way, that's of course, a dream come true for so many people who don't get to do it. So that is a big accolade to come to New York and do that.
Yeah, I was definitely really, really proud of that. My family, they were all really proud of that. So,
Mhm.
um, like the town that I'm from in Florida, it's close to Daytona Beach area. So it's like a part of the Daytona Beach area, but it's a smaller subsection of it.
Mhm.
So, coming from like a small beachy town to New York City and all of a sudden trying
Mm.
to make waves there, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Um, like, right. It was really cool. And like, constantly climbing as
Yeah, yeah.
all actors, models do, pursuing
Mhm.
the dream.
Oh yeah. No, I know it well. I mean, I'm in that world as well. I mean, I'm an actor, singer, songwriter, performer, I do it all. And this is an extension of my writing. And it's so funny we have that in common because that's what I told you I
Yeah.
discovered about you as I was researching to prepare for this interview. But it's funny because in New York City, especially, what happens, I think, is that we all come from our small towns where we might have shined because we were like one of few. And then you get to New York and you're like, oh, this shit is real. Like these
Right.
people are flawless. Like, and the competition is tough. So so any waves you can make in New York City, it's always like, it's good to pat yourself on the back because it's not
Yeah.
easy to do that in. So the other thing is not that it's something that for me, I don't really like to have my sexuality come into the room before me. So it's not something I don't walk around and say I'm an out performer or I'm an out actor
Hmm.
or any of those prefixes. But the fact remains that I am an out performer, and as well as you are an out actor as well. Correct?
Hmm. Correct. Yep.
Do you find that that's something that it took you a moment to sort of be okay with as far as professionally being like, I'm not going to be closeted. I'm going to just, you know, put that out there if it comes up and not be afraid of it and maybe even use it to my advantage. How did you approach that as an out actor in today's climate working in entertainment?
Actually, so I mean, to be completely transparent, you have to, or not like you in general, but like me, I kind of had to step back and be like, wait a minute, will this affect my acting career?
Of course you would think of that. Yes, yes.
Because yeah, because like in in your head and like maybe how you grew up and all that stuff, like it's like, wait a minute, if I'm dubbed as an out actor, is that all I'm going to be cast at
Hmm.
as, or is it going to affect anything like that? And I kind of had to like essentially come out again, but to myself, you know what I mean? And be like,
Right,
you know what?
right.
Actually, it's normal.
Hmm.
It's normal to be out. It's normal to be, one, yourself,
Right.
two, in the arts and entertainment field, and like be able to express, like be able to express yourself, be able to express like feelings, emotions, and all that other good stuff. And
Hmm.
not only that, your sexuality, like
Right, right.
that's a big thing because that's a majority of our field,
Hmm.
because you are these feelings, you are
Right,
these things that you're trying to portray on screen or on the
right.
stage, whatever the case may be.
So you're bringing your most authentic self to your work, so to speak, if you can live in your truth openly, right? Is that sort of like the idea? Um,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. That way it makes you a better performer. And I think there's a lot of examples now too that we have where there's a lot of out performers who are doing really, really well. But that also leads me to a question I often ask performers, out performers specifically, if they have a feeling one way or the other about when straight actors play gay characters, and should maybe those roles be first offered to LGBT performers because those roles, those opportunities are often very limited for us to begin with. So, how do you think that plays out? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be completely honest, like my personal opinion, which I don't know if it's going to be a popular opinion or not, but I think straight actors should have the same opportunities to play a gay character, because as an out actor, I want the same opportunity to play a straight character.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's only, fair, only it only makes sense to allow both sides to do that, um, because you are exercising your acting abilities and your talents. And if you're saying to a gay character or a gay actor, saying you can only play, you know, the supporting role of the gay friend,
Right,
or
right.
you could only say to the straight actor, and like, you can only play the girlfriend, you can only play the boyfriend, whatever. It's like, no, no, it's like
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing. We want inclusion, and we want people to shine. We want them to
Right.
show their abilities and talents. That's my
Mm-hmm.
personal opinion, but
Now
yeah,
you also, as I was mentioning, you're a writer. Uh, this is something that surprised me because I didn't know that you also have your background's journalism then, right? You went to school for journalism?
yeah. So I have a background in communications. So I started out doing marketing, PR, communications, journalism,
Mm-hmm.
um, with some really interesting and like unique jobs that I really loved. But my passion was, entertainment, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I'm pursuing now.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I've written for a handful of different publications. So like Chilled Magazine is one of them, writing about
Yes.
cocktails, like, which I think is low key another side dream of mine. Like I have my main dream, but then I'm like, wait a minute, I get to try cocktails and write about them. Okay,
Well, look, I
sure.
have to, I tell you, I got to interrupt you because it's so strange. Again, another similarity. I have this whole like mixology passion, and I have an Instagram that I started, I need to get back to, called Cocktails with Corey. And it's just about
Oh,
me going around and like trying to remake things when I'm on vacation at a resort, and I'll come home and I'll
yes.
try to, but anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just think that's so funny. Yet another similarity. But so please,
Yeah.
so you write for Chilled, which is mainly about sort of like mixology, cocktail lounge, sort of.
Yeah, mixology, cocktails, even like just liquor, like one-off liquor brands and everything like that.
Mhm.
Really cool publication. But I also write like occasionally for Upscale Living magazine,
Mm.
um, and cover like travel and luxury cars and stuff like that. Which, again, random, I know, but I love luxury cars, which is like
Mhm.
so weird because I live in New York City and I don't have a car up there.
The
There's no need for a
subway
car.
is your luxury. Yeah, the A train's your
Right.
luxury car in New York City, right? Yeah.
My model is the 2020 MTA.
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah. Well, no,
um,
I feel the same way about yachts. For me, it's like,
mm,
I do the Fort Lauderdale. I've done the Fort Lauderdale boat and yacht show a couple of years, and so that's my luxury car, are the yachts. That's on my wish
ooh.
list. So
You should look
cocktails and
into
yachts.
cocktails and yachts. That is perfect.
So you have a piece that you wrote that I came across too that I really wanted to talk to you about. I think it was from The Advocate. Do you know the one I'm referring to?
Yes, I do.
2014. Yeah, I don't want to get all Oprah on you, but that's what I do. It's
You
all
do
fun and
that digging.
games. It's
You
all fun
said,
and games, and I
bam.
dig in there and get some real grit going on. So I found it accidentally, and I was like, wow. So, and it's a topic that I am passionate about in general because I come from a family with religion, all that. So there's an article in The Advocate you wrote 2014,
Hmm.
or that was the publishing date, and it was regarding you coming out well, I think you were during the time you were in like a small Christian college. But if I have that preface incorrect, please, feel free to modify that and tell me the correct setting. But I would love for you to explain that article to me and what was your purpose in writing it.
Sure. Yeah. So you're correct. Went to a very small Christian college, in the middle of Arkansas, dry county.
Mm.
Especially if you have a side dream of writing about cocktails, don't
Right.
live in a dry county.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, they don't mix.
No, no.
Um,
Oh, but
but, right? Hello.
um.
um, yeah, so went there, and like I grew up, very like very religious, going to church. Just grew up my entire life going to church, and like that's how I kind of landed on this college, just because I had family that went there. I had friends that I grew up with that went there, and
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, come on up."
Yeah.
Um, but as I'm there, I wasn't out yet. Um, I started like discovering myself more, because like I was seeing parts of me that were okay in certain areas,
Hmm.
and parts that I was like, wait, this isn't Christianity. Like,
Well, wait, so let me ask you, so what do you mean by that exactly? So you mean parts of like you and your own behaviors, like your awakening, or you mean you began to recognize things in the college
yeah,
environment that didn't seem Christian, or what do you mean by that?
well, yes to both. So
Mhm.
I guess, yeah, I guess I made that sound weird. Um, I started realizing, in myself, like being like, okay, like you're fine. You are normal for having these feelings,
Right.
you know? And like I met people that have had like similar feelings, or were going through similar things. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh,
Hmm.
like for my entire life, I thought something was wrong, you
Yes,
know?
yes.
And so like finally like getting more and more comfortable with myself, but then also looking at certain parts of like the religious aspect, being like, well, these people, like Christianity is supposed to be love,
Hmm.
like that's what it's supposed to stem from.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of people were not showing it at the college, and I was like, what?
So you
Like
mean
this isn't
specifically,
right.
now do you mean specifically to you as a possible gay man, or you mean just in general, you just were in an environment where you're like, these people's behavior just they're not nice, they're not friendly, they're not Christian, they're not practicing what I thought Christians in general are supposed to practice. Is that, or is it more
Yes,
directed at you?
eventually I just was tired. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm studying PR right now, and I'm studying communication. So I'm just gonna, write an op-ed piece and like send it to the Advocate or something like
Hmm.
that. Because I'm like, this is like an LGBTQ magazine,
Yeah, and one of the best.
and
Definitely one of the
yeah,
top.
it's amazing. Like it's an amazing, amazing publication, as is Instinct, um,
Thank you.
of course. But I was like, you know what? They might not even see it, but at least it's off my chest and out there. And then lo and
Yeah.
behold, that same week or a week later, or something like that, somebody from the Advocate called me, and they're like, "Hey, Shaun, like we received this, and would you be like okay if we published it and all that stuff?"
Hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, I get, yeah, sure."
And there's no,
And then
and there's a point of no return if you do. I mean, because once you do that, I mean, the Advocate is like, a million readers, so there's no,
yeah,
there's no like, well, maybe I don't know. You're like, that's a point of no return, right? When you do it.
no return. All of a sudden, so every weekday we had chapel, so we had to sit in chapel, and like do whatever they do in there. And all of a sudden, one day, I like look on my phone, and it's the article. It was out, and I
Yeah.
was like, there is no going back now.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
this is my coming out story.
Hmm. Now, but
um,
had you articulated that like to your family prior to that, or that was literally your first time really coming out, or did your family know already? Like, what was that dynamic like for you at that point?
they all knew at
Okay.
that point. My
Okay.
family did. So I wasn't blindsiding them.
Good. I was like,
um,
yeah,
yeah, right.
that's good.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Um, so that was fine, which I'm very grateful for. But like other people, they're like, I have no idea. And then like I'll get people that again grew up with and everything like that, who also, when I went to this college, like stopped speaking to me for
Mm.
some reason. But then out of the woodwork, when they found out and saw the article, I would get messages from them or something and be like, hey man, like we saw this. We want you to like really think about it, because we don't want you to go to hell and stuff.
Oh,
I was like, what?
I
I
know.
was
It's
like, well, I'm
just,
not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm fine. Well, I won't be.
like,
I'm good.
like
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good.
yeah.
you know?
You know
And
the
so
heaven and hell thing with gay people. and straight people warning us while they're themselves checking off every one of God's like don't do lists items themselves while telling gay people that they're going to hell. It's pretty
Yeah.
fascinating.
It was actually, I use the term funny loosely, but it's funny because Craig and I, we watched The Prom,
Hmm.
kind of going back to the entertainment and like
Right.
being an out actor in the industry. Watched The Prom, directed by Ryan Murphy. I thought it was fantastic because
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
saw it on Broadway and it
Oh,
was
okay.
just a beautiful show. Um, but the song that Andrew Reynolds sings about, oh, I forgot the name of it. But when he's like talking to the kids and saying, "Oh, well, you're doing this, you're going to hell," you know. And so if this girl is a lesbian and you're doing this, like, what's the difference? So I was like, oh, what a beautiful message, like
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
everybody needs to see.
Yeah, and that's interesting with that well the show, the Broadway show and the film, but the Broadway show first. I went to school with a girl who's I'm really good friends with still, and she and I graduated high school like in 1989 or something, and she went to go see it on Broadway with her partner, and she talked about how even at this age, it was so poignant, all the things that were in there for her in her 40s when she watched the Broadway version. So I have not seen either, but it's interesting that James um, Corden, Corden is his last
Mhm.
name? Yeah.
Gordon,
To,
yep.
to the point that we just were discussing regarding straight actors playing gay roles, he's being dragged through the ringer here on social media, and a lot of gay people are apparently upset at his portrayal of that character. So I've not seen it, but that's just another little throwback to that earlier conversation we were having about gay straight actors playing gay roles. Apparently, some people don't like it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Very weird.
I recommend it. Like you go in there looking at it through like the lens of seeing a Broadway show,
Hmm.
because it's what it's mirroring. Um, and also like with James, like it's James Corden, like he's a brilliant actor, I think. Like
Right.
he's very funny, and he does embody, through his portrayal of this actor, through Barry, the person that was playing him on Broadway. And
Hmm.
so again, he's portraying an actor,
Yeah.
like he's
Yeah.
sharing his talent and skill and everything with us. So
Well,
I think he did a good job.
well, with James too, and it's awful to say because, in fact, I was just talking to the managing editor earlier about stereotypes and how sometimes gay people, we are the worst ones to apply them. And he brought up the example of like how we'll see a little skinny twink, for example, in a bar, and we'll like assume he's a bottom. Right. So that was like, and it turns out, he might not be. So we were just laughing at those. But when it comes to stereotypes, James, when James first got famous, and he's very musical and he's very jovial and he's somewhat effeminate actually, and so I was surprised that he was a straight married man when I found out more about him, and I felt, wow, I just like totally stereotyped him on all the things that we as gay men get angry about when people stereotype us.
People
So
do. Yep.
it's always a teachable moment to learn something. So for me, looking at him playing that role, I think that he, from what I understand, did it respectfully and very similar to what a character like that would be. So not disparaging to homosexuals, so to speak.
Yeah, I didn't think so at all. Like I did not feel offended, as like an out actor. Again, I did not
Mhm.
feel like he was shedding a negative light on, the LGBTQ community.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah, I
Mm.
definitely recommend watching it and like forming an opinion. And we should touch base after that and let me know.
Yeah, no, I definitely will, and I'll let you know what I thought. 'Cause I know we definitely promoted it, and we promoted. I think the Saturday night they did like the live Facebook Live thing on this, or is it coming up this Saturday? I don't know. But in any event, they have a couple of live events they've been doing to really get people in there. Of course, the gays are never happy. They bash Meryl Streep. Why is she singing
Uh,
again? It's like she can't, either she wins an Oscar or they hate her. It's like there's no in between.
Oscar or bust. Like,
Right. Yeah, there's no in between. Like like gay audiences now are so like over Meryl Streep that when she nails another like role where she plays like someone from like a different country, they're like, ugh, another accent, you know. So it's like, you can't win that one.
Oh,
Anyway, so
no.
wow. So you're now, do you miss sort of being, I guess right now things are shut down, the productions are shut down, there's not a lot happening. Do you miss that? Are you looking forward to the whole COVID thing being done so you can get back and get back to normal in that regard?
Yes, more than you know. Like, I'm the type of person, I love to work. Like, I just love to stay busy. I like to be on sets. I love to do photo shoots, whatever the case may be. Like, I just love to stay busy. If I sit long enough, I like go nuts.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, what do I do now?
Mm,
Like, I can't go to the gym anymore because then, I will pass out.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm ready. How about yourself?
I am as well. I missed for me, a lot of it with interviewing people, the red carpets, the premieres. That's such a big part of what I do. And it was just finally kicking into really, really great high gear. And here came Miss Corona, messing it all up. So a lot of that stuff got halted. But there is an interesting thing that happened, the Zoom interview. It's interesting how that transitioned us into the other place. So in the past month, I just interviewed the cast of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. That was the cast with Viola Davis and
Wow, nice.
Shirley Ralph last week. Shirley Ralph, and then a really interesting thing that happened where I met the Oscar-nominated and Golden Globe-winning actress Sally Kirkland, who lost to Cher for Moonstruck in 1988, but she was nominated for Best Actress against like Glenn Close, Holly Hunter, and I met her on Facebook in a bizarre, just like random night talking in a thread, and we took a little sidebar, and I jumped on Zoom with her, interviewed her, and she has a new holiday movie that she was promoting. So in a
Hmm.
weird way, you just have to kind of transition and morph into the new normal, but I do miss that
Yeah,
in-person thing. So I am looking forward. Please vaccine, you know, please vaccine, make it all go away. And
yeah,
that's the best we can do. But Shaun, Melady, thank you so much for your time tonight. And I want to make sure that everyone knows about the great work that you're doing, Amazon Prime short film, The Disturbance Call. And also, if I get a chance, or if you get a chance before I do, I'm going to maybe see if Brianna can help me maybe get a couple of those links you mentioned to those pieces, so we can also put that in to Abismo, and anything else you want to make sure that we share in the article when it goes up. So,
absolutely. Well, I appreciate the compliments, and
mhm.
you are awesome, Corey. And I'm so glad we finally got to like chat. It's been a long time coming, I feel.
Yes, it has, and it's great to know that you're doing stuff and that you're out there. And thank you for that compliment as well. But I appreciate knowing you're out there, because I understand so many of the sensitivities and sensibilities, the writing, the attraction to the art, the overcoming the conflicts of religion. There's so many layers there that I relate to. So it's an absolute joy and pleasure for me to meet you as well. So thank you. I appreciate it.
And you said you're in the city, right?
I am. Well, I'm in Jersey City, so right across the river. So my partner and I, we both lived in Manhattan for a while, but I'm close. So when all this COVID craziness is over, we'll hang out, we'll grab a drink or something in person and continue the convo there. But yeah, I'm right across the river.
I would love that. And then you said Joe,
Yep,
with
Joe.
you, Greg, and me, we should all do a double date one day.
I love it. Let's do it. As soon as we get rid of Miss COVID, count me in.
Get her out of here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shaun, and I will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Corey. Talk to you
All right.
later.
Have a good night. Bye bye.
Bye.